Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Vivs here from slidenerd. Today, in this video, there are two things that I'm going to do. One, I'm going to show you how to make this recycler view look like the standard one specified in the material design guidelines. Two, I'm going to show you a tool that you can use in your apps to validate your design against material design guidelines. So let's take a look at that. First step, if you notice our pre-lollipop and the lollipop device and you take a look at this recycler view, it doesn't look that great, and most of all this is nowhere close to the standard specified by the material design guidelines. So what is the standard? Let's take a look at that. So the first place in the material design document is under layout, metrics and keylines. Now this is where we'll come and just take a look at what is happening. So if you go there, we talk about keylines, which are basically this long running vertical lines that you see here, the pink ones that separate, or you can say segregate, the content areas properly in a vertical fashion. Again, take a look at how they have divided this complete list view into different sizes. They have mentioned the sizes here at the bottom, and they have done it. Now our case has a navigation drawer, so this is probably the one which we should be looking for here, where they say that there's a 48 dp of separation, or the size of each tile as they call it. And then there's the 8 dp out here, the divider padding above and below the divider if we have a divider. In our case we don't have it. And then there's 3, which is 56 dp, which is over here, which is this extra space on the right hand side of your screen. So given this, let's take a look at the specifications in a different place as well. Now if you go down further, they talk about how to do the same thing for a tablet and a desktop, I believe. Yeah, there you go, there's a desktop layout template as well. If you go further down all the way, they talk about element width, and they talk about incremental keylines, how we can use multiples of those values out here to make your content section properly. Now if you go to the navigation drawer part, which is under patterns and navigation drawer, this is the one which we are very specifically looking for. We need to know this perfectly for our recycler view. So if you go here, we talk about the status bar height of 24 dp. Then there's 2 here with the Jonathan Lee hello from blah 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 56 dp in height. Then there's third, which is the divider, which has 8 dp above and below. And then there's 4, which is our tile currently for 48 dp. If you go back to our design here, and if you take a look at our drawer, each item needs to be 48 dp tall here. So I can go simply to the text part and I can set up a height here. Instead of match parent, I can call it 48 dp here, and that brings the whole content to this one tile here. Now let's take a look at how we can further style this. If you go to patterns and if you go to the navigation drawer section, you will find out immediately that they talk about what sizes or keylines and separation and UI design specs that you should use for your recycler view inside the navigation drawer. As you can see, the icon has a 16 dp separation from the utmost left, 72 dp is where the text starts, and then there's another 16 dp right, and there's a 56 dp difference between the closing of the drawer and the edge of the screen that you have. Now this is exactly what you're supposed to follow if you're using it for a device, and then you're supposed to scale it for different devices based on what they have. If you go further down here, again those are the same sizes that I mentioned in vertically. This is 24 dp status bar at the top here, and 2 where they have written the email names, basically 56 dp in size. Then there's the 8, there's a divider here, which is this full bleed divider that you see. There's 8 dp above the divider, 8 dp below the divider, and then there's each item that is basically 48 dp in size. So we go here to studio and we set up our custom row to have a height of 48 dps. In other words, if you go to the design tab, this is the whole item right now. We need to apply these settings for this padding on the 16 left and right. Now this can be done in several ways. You can apply a padding on your recycler view, or you can apply a margin on your custom layout. It's completely up to you on how you want to do this. For me, I'm going to simply take this icon here, apply a 16 dp of margin left and a 16 dp of margin right here to ensure that the text doesn't stick up to the icon ever. So I'll simply go here to the text tab here and apply a margin left of 16 dp and a margin right of 16 dp here. Now if you go back, if you go to the design tab, you'll take a look that the icon has somewhat come up in the center. Now for the text, if you go and read, it says 72 dp should be from the left of the edge of the screen. Now if you notice my text part, there's image view, there's text view, I have not specified any relationship between the text view and the image view, even though I'm using a relative layout. That way, my text view will be considered from this edge of the screen. Now I'm going to specify a margin left of 72 dp on the text. In other words, I'll simply go here and I'll say margin left is 72 dp. Now if you go to the design tab, there's our text that you can see. And to make things more interesting, we can center both of them. We can go here and we can say center vertical true, center vertical true here for both of them, and there you go. There's our icon, there's our text, and there should be a 16 dp padding on the right side as well. If you take a look at the dummy text currently, this is the size of it. It's wrap content, I believe. Yes, there it is, wrap content. So this looks perfectly good. At this point, if you run this app, let's take a look at how it's gonna look on the screen. Well, as you can see, that definitely looks far better than what it did earlier. But is there a way of knowing if this is right? Are you absolutely sure that we are following the guidelines? This is the problem. You see, even I'm not sure whether this is the perfect layout or it's perfectly right or not. So, how do we find out? The way we find out is by validating our design completely against what is given over here. And for that, we need a nice library. In fact, I've actually found one for you guys, and I'm going to show you how to use that library and validate your design perfectly to check if it's matching with the material design guidelines or not. At the time of making this video, this library seems to be the perfect way to check if your UI is compliant with the material design documentation. As you can see, it basically draws a set of grid lines behind your UI with the key lines and everything that you can specify in your app. So the way you specify key lines is by going down and having your JSON resource file. For example, here they have said that they need key lines left at 16, another one from left at 72, another one from right at 16, and these will be drawn on your UI when you build your app. Now let's try to use this library to check if our recycler view is actually matching with the design specifications. First thing we gotta do is have our compile time dependency for this library in our Gradle. So we just copy this dependency here, go to our app, go to the build.gradle file, add this here, rebuild our project by simply going to build and rebuild. In the meantime, let's try to copy the file. We can just take this specification they have said for the key line 16, 72, 16 from the right, then there's spacing 0, 16, 56, 0, 16. Let's take a look at how we can do this. We can just copy paste this, go to studio here. We have to put this inside the raw folder because we are going to refer this using arc.raw.something. Since there is no raw here, we can just go to res, right click, new. We can say Android resource directory, select the type as raw here. The raw file automatically appears as the name. Click OK. And inside the raw folder, we can just make a new file here saying new file and call that spec, for example. Click OK. Text files for now because I don't think I have a JSON handling files here in the list. I didn't see it at least. So click OK. Add this file to the Git. Yes. Add the specification here. Now at this point, we got to find the layout that we want to completely see with those grid lines. In our case, it's going to be this full layout for our navigation drawer. And the way we do that is to simply make our own layout here, which is using org.lucasser.dspec.DesignFrameLayout. Now we need to put all your content inside this layout so that those grid lines are drawn for you guys automatically. So we can just select that, open it, close it as well, select the XML as attribute and the width and the height. In this case, the width is going to be a match parent. The height is also the width, again the height match parent, both of them. And now we are going to put our entire relative layout inside this special design spec frame layout here. Just press Ctrl Alt L to reformat stuff. And now we need to specify one attribute that tells us how the design spec should be validated. Now this is the spec file we have, which we need to compare our design against. So just go here, app design spec here. At this point you will get an error which says app is not found. Just press Alt enter here, create the namespace for it, and now all you gotta do is point yourself to that by saying @/raw and just refer to the spec file that we have. Now if you run this, let's take a look at what happens. So at this point, you open the drawer and bam, take a look at that. There are key lines coming up right inside your navigation drawer. If you go to the spec here and if you take a look at this attribute which says baseline grid cell size is 8, I believe this is 8 dp that they're talking about. You go back to the spec, you see that this is 16 dp, there's 72 out here, and there's the other one which is again 16 dp from the right, and so on. So this way you can validate your complete designs to check if you're falling in sync with the material design. Now at the time of making this video, I have not really tested the Dspec to its full extent, but if I find something more about this, I'll definitely make another video talking about this in further detail. In the meantime, if you like what you saw, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to slidenerd, and let me know what you think about this Dspec library and all this material design validation. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a